You know the little writing on the wall or whatever? You know who we're playing tonight, Spenny?
No, I don't.
The Islanders. You know who coaches the Islanders?
Yeah.
Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
Right? He just and there's something there where he knows that we're reeling and he wants to come in here and just stick his little Avalanche claws from back in the day into us.
Yep.
That's what sports and competing is about. So anybody who's going to be down there, hey, bring your cheers, man. I got my Detroit gear on today. Whatever like this doesn't mean abandon ship just because I don't like what they're doing these days. We've been here before.
All right. D-Mac, this one here, and this is, I'm not trying to redo the Unrivaled special or anything like that. What has your post-career interaction been with Patrick Waugh? Is there any
Very
at all?
minimal, but I'll tell you this.
Very minimal.
No, exactly. Like, and like when you go back to Unrivaled, what I loved about Unrivaled, and if you haven't seen the ESPN 30 for 30 they did on the fight and the rivalry and stuff, is because you get both sides. Mm-hmm. And what I saw there is what I think you see in who Patrick Waugh is today, to being the NHL head coach and that maturity. Like being a player, being a coach, you got to wear a different hat. So I think that you got to see in the Unrivaled the person. You only saw the machine before, right? You only saw the character. Now it's even more, but it goes deeper. So, like, I tell the story that was pretty cool because if you were at the Shoresy's game or know this, but Delaney, who is on one of the other teams that actually skates with these guys, is Patrick Waugh's son, and he came up and got a picture, and we had a nice little talk, and I think that's beautiful because if I think about it, who my son Griffin, who's the same age, if he runs into Claude Lemieux or Patrick Waugh or whatever, I want him to share his experience about watching growing up, right? It has nothing to do with what the fathers have. It's pretty cool to see how it goes down. So, you know, I wish Patrick Waugh success, but not at our expense. Only when he plays Toronto to beat them. But tonight we need the 2 points. But there's that. Everybody understands that rivalry that you'll carry throughout your life. It'll mean a little bit. I'm sure every time he doesn't think about it, but if they come in and get a win every time he wins an LCA or beats the Red Wings, there's something that makes you smile. Same thing as when we beat those guys. Mm-hmm. So, no way out but through. They got to come out. I just want to see them from puck drop, Neal. Like this would be a perfect time to just let's get a little greasy. You know, let's some physicality, right? Let's continue to try to get shots on net, but this is a great opportunity when you come back on the road, and because everybody's bummed. I mean, I'm sure everybody going in to LCA tonight is sort of like, oh, when's the other shoe gonna drop? But let's go in there with the mentality, okay, we're gonna take care of this game. So let's get behind them and see until they prove us differently.
That's what I'm saying, D-Mac. I need put Rass on the first line.
Well,
put a big guy on the first line. Let him throw some people around.
Neal asked a great question yesterday. What can be done? What will you do? These are the guys that you have, and
because no one's coming to save you.
So what it is to change, and the only thing I can think about is what Scotty would do back in the day, and especially in practice, which goes back to I don't think these guys are getting enough practice time in, enough reps to change systems, to work on things. I think it's just games, travel, and the way it is these days, you're more apt to get a day off or an off the ice day than you are on. Why? Because of nutrition, because of sleep, because there's so many different, cooks in the kitchen, right? Instead of just going out. What we would do back in the day, Scotty get mad, you'd go to practice, you'd be on a different line. There'd be different, so picture this for everybody. The black and the white jerseys are the defensemen, usually, right? So there's the pairs of D. Then you have red lines, usually the first line. Then you have a blue. The teal line's usually our line, or the green line, the third or fourth line. You come in and you're lined. So if you went in to the Red Wings, I would think, you'd see Larkin, you'd see DeBrincat, and you'd see Raymond with the same colored jerseys. Well, how Scotty Bowman used to shake things up is you go in there and there'd be lines all over the place. Man, I'd be practicing with the Russian, I'd have Sergei as my center and Dougie Brown or whatever. I'd be playing left wing. It wouldn't matter. It was just a different look. Why did it matter, Neal? How many times have I said this in the past? Because during a game, and it's usually during the season, that he would get frustrated, we wouldn't be playing well, and he'd go, you, off of every different line, throw you on the ice. 9 times out of 10, something really good
clicked.
happened,
Yeah.
right? Whether you scored, drew a penalty, changed the momentum, but Scotty Bowden just sit back there, chomp his ice, and be that mad scientist. So if you're asking, can anything be done? Maybe, hopefully, they got some ice time yesterday, and they need to. There's no love, right? There doesn't look like they're having fun at all. And I only go back to the end of I'm only looking for the same eyeball test as the end of the season with the energy, with the excitement, with the vibrations and frequency, right, from the team. And I'm not getting that off the ice. You know, and I go back to what my son said the other day because he was at the game in San Jose. It says it's looked like there's 7 guys that are driving the ship and the rest are passengers. Where you're at with this team, it can't happen.
Woodward Sports chat thread. Anakin Skygore. My great aunt passed away from cancer yesterday. So our thoughts are with you. Sorry to hear
Sorry
that.
for your loss,
Thoughts and
Anakin.
prayers, man.
Absolutely, Anakin, valued member of the Woodward Sports chat community. Tony D, morning, Big D Energy. What up though? Ryan's reaction. Sergey, don't do that to me. Ryan's reaction.
Our guy on Champaign Athletics, shout out to them. He said his dream would be that Lalonde gets canned, and Steve Yzerman doesn't tell anybody about what's coming up next or what's happening next. And during the game, Sergey comes in like Stone Cold Steve Austin riding the Zamboni and hops.
Nice. Am I right in the storyline to this?
Right, you might be.
D-Mac storyline to
That
whatever.
was the guys at Champaign Athletics. Shout
No,
out to
like
them.
elephant in the room. Let's go there right now. Because I'll first say is political climate with
tough.
like
That's an
number
unknown.
one.
And that's an unknown.
That's
we
number
don't
one.
know.
And
Yeah.
you got 2 guys that are like, it's not about poaching them off or whatever. Would there be a conversation, guys? If Sergei Fedorov coaching this team or Igor Larionov coaching this team, was the best thing for this team that Steve Yzerman thought, then he'd do it. But I think there's so many other things. Why we're not having the conversation, because I don't think it's realistic because of the politics.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
Neal,
there's other factors.
how do I put that? Can I put that any better?
No, the political climate is an obstacle.
Yes.
It's the
It
first
always is.
obstacle,
Yeah.
I would think.
It always is.
That's definitely the first
It was
time.
an obstacle to him coming here to play.
Yeah.
Like,
It's been an obstacle for a while.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
They had to
that's
steal him.
Yeah, I mean, like
I
that's
would
understood.
think, you know what? Me, right? Gerard Gallant's still out there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would think, and this is Darren McCarty talking, not knowing anything, but coaching styles, what this team needs, which is like some emotion, you probably I would go more that way.
Yeah.
To get a guy that's going to get some emotion.
You know, the rumor was that Stevie wanted him, and it just didn't happen for whatever reason.
But again, like, if you think this just all sort of happened and there wasn't like a contingency plan or something, this was, this year was always going to be this way with how it played out. It's like the buffer. I don't like it in the least bit. Nobody should like it. It's just trying to understand that this is the why. So I think, though, Neal, that with the temperature is that if this keeps the same way, something's got to happen, doesn't it?
It has to. Like, and I'll tell you this too, and you've said it a million times, and I believe that you are correct. Steve Yzerman is like Paulie from Goodfellas. He's going to move when he wants to move. I respect that, and I understand that. But D-Mac, when you're talking about 14 coaches in the league that have been removed over the last year and some change, when you're talking about the Boston Bruins just gassed their coach.
Jim Montgomery, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there comes a time where, like, the market dictates. You know what I'm saying? And D-Mac, call me out on this. Like, tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean,
like,
and I think what you're finding is that we're not just experiencing it here. You're experiencing it elsewhere with playoff teams and stuff. It's finding whatever that is, the Boston Bruins, that was sort of a quick trigger on Jim
100%,
Montgomery,
yeah.
wasn't it?
100%.
So if Jim Montgomery can get fired by Boston, what's holding your guy here?
Who's not? Who's untouchable? If he got gassed, like who's untouchable? And I guess my backup question to that would be real quick, D-Mac. Can it make that big of a difference instantly? Because in hockey, it seems to more than most.
Okay, well, yeah, like for emotion because you know what? Usually when a new guy's going to come in and not do the same thing the old guy was going to do, the only thing you would do consistent, right? You keep the power play the same and leave Alex Tanguay with the power play. But you got to switch up the PK. You got to switch up your lines. Aren't these Neal conversations with the coach coming in is how would you fix this? The first thing is put a spark in somebody's ass. I need Christian Fischer and Rasmussen and Veleno out there running around.
Yes.
I need guys running around. You signed an Austin Watson for reasons that let him loose. We need something. I need some emotion. I need 3 gyms for Christ's sake. Sign him out of Shorzy. Let's go.
D-Mac. A couple things here, and people are cooking on this, so I'm going to stay with it. So, just give me a second here, Spenny,
what are you talking about? No one likes to talk hockey.
To get through this.
I was told. Dude.
Woodward Sports chat thread, get into there. And I think you'll be able to dispel this, and it means more coming from you than it does from me, even though the message is the exact same. Mike G, sounds like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Is Chris Ilitch in that room? D-Mac?
No. And cooks in the kitchen means, when I said that, I meant nutritionalists. I meant fucking strength and conditioning guy. I meant fucking your sleep paralysis dude. Your fucking sleep number
chiropractor.
There's 8,000 million other things that don't have to deal with going out and putting the puck in the net or putting a body on somebody.
And you didn't have to deal with that.
Sometimes you get too caught up. But I'm old school, so I don't know. No, Mike, I believe that not at all. Chris isn't even in that conversation.
Yeah, and why would he be? It's a capped sport.
The keys are in Steve. I don't know how I can explain it anymore. It's not that the conversation to Steve Yzerman doesn't. I'm never mad when people bring it up in the frustration. I'm just trying to tell you, don't waste your energy on that because that's not changing. So move on to something that you can. Neal, does that make sense? It's not that the conversation you're having about Steve Yzerman and the questions, right? I'm saying it's useless and irrelevant because he holds the keys to this organization and decisions.
Right. And that's unquestioned.
That's the reason. So focus on where the changes will be made. The changes will be made hopefully by bringing in youth and some of the guys from Grand Rapids and giving them an earlier opportunity, or it's coaching.
And here's the feeder to it. Cody Ingle says, until we have a competitive roster, it doesn't matter who the coach is. And Cody, when you have the third-ranked power play in the league, you have talent on your team.
No, but you have power play talent. Neal, that doesn't mean you have the rest of the game talent. That's where the NHL, that's where it's changed. Yes, usually back in the day when you look who are your top guys, it's your power play. But these guys are power play specialists now. That they can't, what's your 5-on-5 to the round? You said this and we said this. Derek Lalonde was always going to be this guy in the buffer and more of the scapegoat to anything else, to whatever roster. And a lot of it, too, you can go both ways because what he's been given to use, right, isn't full bore. And I was told, I didn't believe, but I was told by somebody, and I'll just say, former teammate, that doesn't work in the organization, right? That I talked to a lot about things, told me he saw it being this way because of the off season. When he broke it down to me on the golf course, you're not better. You hope you can be because you have the Edmondsons and the Casper, developing in time. But if you looked at it,
that doesn't work for the team.
Doesn't work for the team.
I want that out there.
Yeah, no, none of. So get rid of but somebody who is one of my dudes. right? As how am I seeing this or whatever? And I was like, no. I was like, no, because I think I think it'd be the same, but we're gonna be better because we're better in goal. But holy fuck, are you worse on defense?
Yeah.
The PK's what if you can't, like, if the PK was where the power play was and you had both the special teams humming up there, then we'd be false flagging, faking ourselves. But it's just frustrating. I hope that everybody understands. I don't have the answers, and I'm as frustrated as anybody because this reminds me of like 4 or 5 years ago.